Good morning. So, little story to tell to start before I get into the geometry. It's a pair of my basketball shorts. My girls were making clothes for their dolls the other morning, and my shorts happened to be nearby, and because they had just come out of the dryer, my daughter decided, hey, she liked this orange on my good Nike basketball shorts. So she decided to cut it all out. Isn't that nice? Yeah. So goes. Anyway, we're going to talk about some uh, concepts here in geometry. Section 10.4. Okay, so let's walk through this. It says find the area of the following figure. Focus it a bit better. All right. So this is kind of looking at how the area of the whole rectangle, we could look at it that way. We can say, well, this side is, the width is A plus B, and the length is C plus D. And so then the area, you'd multiply A times C, AC, A times D, AD, B times C, BC, B times D, BD. And that's the area of your whole figure. And you can see when you split it up into boxes, you can find the area of each box. So B times C, BD, AC, right? Because the width of this box is A, and the length of the box is C, so area AC, and this one AD. And you see you get the same four pieces, AC, AD, BC, BD. All right, simple enough. What happens when we go into 3 dimensions? So a box has dimensions L, W, and H. If the dimensions are multiplied by 2, 3, and 4 respectively, how is the volume of the box changed? Okay, so let's take a look here. So I'm just calling the volume of the original box V sub 1. And we know the volume of the box is just length times width times height. Length times width times height. Now it says if the dimensions are multiplied by 2, 3, and 4 respectively, how is the volume changed? So now we have my volume of my bigger box, we'll call it V sub 2, equals 2L times 3W times 4H. Now, if you remember back in your pre-algebra days, there's this property of multiplication called the commutative property, which means we can move, because it's all multiplication, 2 times L times 3 times W times 4 times H. And the order in multiplication doesn't matter, right? 2 times 3 is the same as 3 times 2. So I can rewrite this as 2 times 3 times 4 times L, W, H. And then here, 2 times 3 is 6, 6 times 4 is 24, so 24 LWH. So my volume of my larger box is 24 times LWH. And the volume of my original box is LWH. So you can see that the volume of my larger box is 24 times bigger. That might be a bit confusing. I have no idea because I can't see your faces. So let's just look at, let's say we pick some easy numbers for L, W, and H for our original box. Let's say that L was 5 and W was 1 and H is 6. Okay, so then the volume of my original box would just be 5 times 1 times 6, which is 30. So then we would expect the volume of my larger box to be 24 times 30, which is 720. So let's just see if that works. So volume 2 would be 2 times 5 times 3 times 1 times 4 times 6. So 2 times 5 is 10, times 3 is 30, times 1 is 1. So you already have this part here is 30. That's my original volume. Then here's your 24. But anyway, 30 times 4 is 120. 120 times 6 is 720. So it's 24 times my original volume. Now I played with the numbers a little bit here, but just meaning like it's just kind of a coincidence that my last two numbers multiplied to 24, because here's my 2, my 3, my 4. That's how, just like over here, 2, 3, 4. So you could rewrite this as 2 times 3 times 4, and then times 5 times 1 times 6. So there's 24 times 30. All right, hopefully that makes some sense to you. You can always email me questions. Now the tricky part. You got to turn your algebra brain on maximum. What would happen if the length was increased by 2, the width by 3, and the height by 4? So this isn't multiplication anymore. This is addition. So what happens if I have, so I still have my original volume is LWH, but now my new volume is going to be L plus 2 W plus 3 and H plus 4. But now you got to multiply it through, kind of like what we did up top here. But now we have 3 pieces instead of 2, which makes it 3 times as fun. Here we go. L times W, LW. L times 3, 3L. 2 times W, 2W. 2 times 3, 6. Now I take that mess and I multiply it by H plus 4. Right, so first I multiply these two together. Then I take that answer, multiply it by this one. So LW times H is LWH. LW times 4 is 4 LWs. 3L times H is 3LH. 3L times 4 is 12L. 2W times H is 2WH. And 2W times 4 is 8W. 6 times h is 6h, and 6 times 4 is 24. So the question says, what would happen if the length were increased by 2, the width by 3, and the height by 4? Here's my original volume. My original volume is going to be increased by whatever this mess is. And that's going to vary. There's no way to simplify that. So the answer is the volume will increase by whatever this is. And of course, that depends on what L, W, and H are. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. Obviously, it's much easier to manipulate how the volume changes when you have multiplication versus addition. All right, well, that's lesson 10.4, 10.4. See the homework there. See what you can make of that.